This is Transcend with Nat, where we are awakening to the spiritual heart, sharing stories and awarenesses along the path of transcendence. Hi, and welcome to Transcend with Nat. This is Nat. I am your host, and today we're going to be talking about dilemmas. And to do that, I'm going to start by reading something from my latest book, Transcending the Practice of Spiritual Living, Volume 2, which you can get on Amazon. And the chapter 3, called Getting Above Your Dilemma. So there's a little key to dealing with dilemmas in the way that I'm going to share with you, and give you a couple techniques, a couple tools that I have used that I found to be valuable in dealing with dilemmas. When you have a situation or dilemma that is challenging you, rather than trying to solve it on the level of the problem, move into a higher consciousness, which is a loving consciousness. You can't solve a dilemma from the level that you created the dilemma. That's just the nature of a dilemma. Instead of staying in the dilemma, move beyond it by rising above it. Nice ideas, but what does that look like practically? What does that look like in real life? When you're dealing with something that you really cannot find the right answer or a answer, it seems like either way you go, it's not a great answer, or it's hard to say which one will be a better answer. Now, part of getting above it is letting go of that angst that the dilemma causes. And one way to do that is through spiritual exercises, which is that process of moving inward, closing your eyes, chanting a sacred name of God, quieting yourself, listening, and then chanting again. And if you want more about that, you can also find out more about spiritual exercises in this book, Transcending the Practice of Spiritual Living, Volume 2. There's a whole appendix at the end that discusses, it's actually appendix number 1, that discusses a step-by-step process of doing spiritual exercises. And if you don't know a name of God or have a name of God to chant, you can chant the Hu tone, which is Sanskrit for God. And that would sound like Hu, but you do it internally. You do it and you focus in on the third eye area, which is somewhere back here between above the two eyes and the forehead where the third eye area is, and then back into your head near your pituitary gland. If you put your other finger, like you put your thumb above your ears and your finger above your in your third eye area, and where those 2 points intersect is where you're moving your focus. And you don't have to roll, some people like roll their eyes back. You don't have to do anything like that. It's your attention. You're moving your attention and your intention to that inner space. And doing that process of spiritual exercises, the reason it's beneficial when you're dealing with a dilemma is because it shifts your awareness to something greater. And you can't go into spiritual exercises with the idea that you're going to solve this problem, because you have to let go of solving the dilemma. You have to let go of the dilemma for that time that you're going to go inside. That's part of dealing with the dilemma, is by moving above it. And to move above it, you have to let it go, or let that pressure of needing an answer. And sometimes there really is a pressure to come up with an answer, and not having an answer is not an option sometimes. And sometimes that is an answer, is not answering the dilemma. So as you're moving inward, the intention isn't to get above the dilemma. The intention is to move into that inner place where you have that essential connection with the divine within you, with the spirit, with God, with your spiritual heart, and that pure, unconditioned energy. Because once you move into that space, you may not solve the dilemma, but you will have let go of the pressure and that allows your consciousness to see beyond the dilemma, to see something that is greater than the dilemma. And that can help actually resolve the dilemma as a side effect of moving your awareness. Another practical tool that I really like to use when dealing with dilemmas is putting it into the light, putting both answers, no answer, putting whatever is causing that challenge within you in regards to the choices you have to make or in regards to the situation. You can just put that situation into the light. I find that is very effective. When we're talking about the light of the Holy Spirit, the pure energy, the higher light, not the magnetic light, which is more of a light of this lower, below the soul level of these psychic material worlds. There's a light called the magnetic light, and that light you can control. So when you're dealing with a magnetic light, you may be trying to control the dilemma, trying to control the answer, rather than opening to seeing above the dilemma, to letting go of the dilemma. Because if you let it go into the higher light, into the light I'm talking about, which is the spiritual light, which works for the highest good, not for how you want it to work. It works for the highest good. So as you let your dilemma go into the light, as you ask for the light to go into that dilemma, and that whatever take place be for the highest good, as you ask for your own awareness, your own consciousness to be put into the light, and the answers and the actions that you take be in the light, it helps shift something inside of you. And it also can actually shift the situation that is causing the dilemma. And it can shift the causes of the dilemma that you may not even be aware of. And that's the beauty of using the light. I think is my experience is it's a very powerful way to approach dilemmas. I was dealing with a situation just recently where I wasn't sure how to approach it, and I had different options, and I just didn't know. So I kept asking for the light, seeing the light go into it, letting it go, and allowing that light to do whatever it does for the highest good. And then as I came into that situation, as I met with the people I was meeting with, as I had the discussion, I just held the light there, and I held the light for the others and for the situation and for the conversation. And it allowed me to cooperate more fully and to listen and to be present. And it naturally worked out in a way that I couldn't have controlled it to work out. It worked out in a beautiful way. And so using the light is another really powerful way to work with a dilemma, to deal with a dilemma. Prayer is also really good, though not the prayer of God, will you take it, or God, will you change it, but that prayer of asking for the strength, asking for the clarity, asking for the wisdom, and asking for the greater loving to come forward into the situation. So light is one approach, prayer in the way of letting go to the highest good, asking for those elements that would help you in handling this situation to the highest level possible for you. The other is to bring loving into it. Sometimes we don't want to get it wrong. We don't want to make the wrong choice. We're afraid that we'll make a wrong choice, and that's part of the dilemma. So if you bring that intention into your life of approaching the situation, approaching the challenge, approaching the dilemma with loving, that either way you go, either choice you make, whether it's wrong as you are defining that, or whether it's the right decision, that you choose to bring loving into that situation, into the decision you make, and to have that compassion and caring and understanding within yourself for yourself first, so that regardless of whether it's a wrong or a right decision or action, that you bring into that action the loving. And you also look at it from the point that no matter what happens, no matter what goes on, you are bigger than the dilemma. Who you are is bigger than any dilemma. Who you are is more powerful than any challenge, any dilemma. And whatever dilemma you may be dealing with in your life, knowing that you're bigger than it can help you reframe it, is that no matter what, you are going to use it for your learning, whether you're wrong or right, whether you make a mistake or mess it all up, that you'll use that for your learning, for your upliftment spiritually, and your growth in who you are. And in that relationship to God, in that relationship to yourself, that no matter what you do and what the results are, that's a bigger commitment in your life, that you're going to use it for your upliftment, your learning, and your growth. And those are some keys for you when you're dealing with dilemmas in your life. You can read more about that in that chapter 3 of Transcending the Practice of Spiritual Living that is on Amazon, Volume 2, my latest book, By Me, by Nathaniel Sherritt. And you can find that there or on my website, transcend.online. And that chapter is called Getting Above Your Dilemma. And the other thing that can help, one of the things that I do in my work with people, is I do what's called a spiritual life review. And that actually gives you an opportunity to express what's going on in your life, for us to look at it together, for me to assist you in seeing your life and the situations in your life in the light and above how you normally would see it, and giving you that space and opportunity to really touch in with yourself, to really take that time to review what's important in your life, where you're going in your life, and to gain greater clarity with all that. And if you're interested in doing that with me privately, that's available on my website, transcend.online. I also have a weekly newsletter that I put out that's called the same as this podcast, called Transcend with Nat. That's on Substack. You can get it on my website, and these 2 books. So hopefully that gave you some tools to assist you when you're dealing with a challenge, when you're dealing with a dilemma in your life, and give you some ways in which you can move above the dilemma, move beyond the dilemma, let the dilemma go into the light, and welcome that higher being that is the presence, that is God, to assist you more fully in your life, and that you can open to that greater help. Till next time, God bless you. Irush Beishan, the blessings already are.
Just forgive yourself, come on, let it be, 'cause I'm free.